Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoring from the 50 podcast. We got 1 week in the books of college football, and what a weekend it was. We saw upsets. We got Florida State and Alabama. We're going to talk about it. It's the second game we're going to talk about. What a weekend to get us started. We had 2 top 10 games yesterday. I'm recording this at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. So we got the South Carolina game is on my TV right now. They're playing Virginia Tech in Atlanta. I'm not going to be able to get to the Miami-Notre Dame game tonight, which I'm really looking forward to. I know for you guys, you should be listening to this tomorrow, which will be Monday. So you guys will know how that game went. I'm going to try and get a 10 to 15 minute, maybe not even that, we'll see, recap of that game that's going on tonight. Really excited to see that. That's our 3rd top 10 game of the weekend. We had 2 yesterday. We will talk about both of those games. It's our 1st and our 3rd games that we're going to talk about. And then after those 3 games, I'll give out my team of the week. And that's a new thing that I want to start talking about this year with my college football podcast. I really want to be able to recognize some teams that are like, good for you, man. Like, you haven't been able to do something like that in a while. I also have 2 games that I want to preview for next week. Week 2, we got Illinois and Duke, and then Michigan at Oklahoma. Really looking forward to being able to talk to you guys about those games, give you my thoughts on why they're important. It's not a great slate next weekend. That's only one ranked versus ranked game, and it's the Michigan-Oklahoma game. It's my game of the week because there's not really any other options. There's also the KU-Mizzou game that I'm really looking forward to, just because I live right on the border of Mizzou and KU, right around Kansas City. So it's a pretty big deal here where I live that game's happening again. Super excited for it. Cannot wait. That's a must watch, partly because there's no other games on at 2:30, but really looking forward to that. Can't wait for next weekend. We'll get to that at the end. Make sure that you watch all the way through to get to that so you can see me talk about MU and KU a little bit, and then Illinois and Duke, Michigan, Oklahoma. Make sure you watch to the end. Make sure to subscribe. I saw last video, I got about 50 views, which is like double the amount that I've ever had on a video. Thank you guys. I really appreciate that. And then I saw that only 50 people watched it, but only 23 people are subscribed. So make sure you go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Makes me feel good. So you got to hit the like button. I really appreciate guys you watching, and let's get to the football games that happen this weekend, okay? So Saturday night, the first game I want to talk about was Clemson against LSU. LSU ended up pulling this game out 17-10. They played great defensively. I cannot get over how much LSU has improved defensively in the past 2 years. Do you remember 2 years ago? They had one of the best offenses in the country, had a quarterback win the Heisman, had Brian Thomas Jr. Insane team, insane offense. Not an insane team because their defense was absolutely horrendous. I cannot talk enough about how bad that defense was, and it completely wasted one of the best offenses we've ever seen. They have it figured out this year. Their defense played great last night, okay? They only gave up 10 points to start with. Okay, that's a great start. Cade Klubnik was only 19 for 38 with 230 yards and an interception, no touchdowns. They only allowed 31 rushing yards to Clemson. Either LSU's defensive line is really good, or Clemson has a huge issue on their offensive line. It's one of the two. We'll figure it out as the season goes on. It's one of those two. Either LSU's really good, or Clemson has a lot to worry about on the offensive line. We'll see. We'll see how the season plays out. Clemson's defense, they played really, really good. I mean, they only gave up 17 points to LSU. LSU felt like they should have been doing a lot better. I think Garrett Nussmeier had a decent game. It wasn't great, but he could have been a lot better. The weapons didn't play as good as I thought they would, but I mean, they got the job done. It's week 1, okay? The teams that played this weekend are only a shell of what they're going to be whenever the season's over. So, I mean, they have a ton of time to grow. I mean, not a ton of time because they do play Florida in week 4 coming up. So, we'll see. They need to hurry up and get that on track if they want to beat Florida. But I think Clemson's a better team than Florida, so they should be fine. They should be able to go into Florida and beat them. We'll see. For Clemson, again, that offensive line, I think that's what's lost them that game because they had 31 yards rushing, and Cade Klubnik was under duress the entire time. He just was not able to throw the ball. You saw in the last play, LSU brought a blitz on Clemson. They got to him. They had to force a really bad throw. Won the game. LSU did that all night. And the reason why they were able to do that and blitz so much was because of how good that secondary played. They played out of their minds yesterday. No one was open, ever. And it was beautiful to watch. It was beautiful to watch. I loved it. I loved it from LSU. That defense is really, really good. Clemson, on the other hand, they should be okay. They weren't terrible yesterday. The offense wasn't as bad as Texas's offense yesterday. And they play in the ACC. And that wasn't a conference game. So they should be okay. They should still be able to win the ACC. Maybe not, though. They might have a new contender. I'm really looking forward to talking about this Florida State team, if you cannot tell. I gotta wait. I like Clemson. I think they need to be better on the defensive line and the offensive line. I think that's their key. They need to be better in the trenches, and they should be okay. It's just, I think they should be able to get to the ACC. It's just a matter of if they can go against the best teams in the country, the Ohio States, the LSUs, the Florida States. They need to be able to play a Florida State. That's a game that they have to be able to win because Florida State looked really, really good yesterday. So I think that going forward, if I had to guess who they're going to play in the championship, in the ACC championship, I would guess Florida State. I'm really not a believer in Miami. If you can't tell, I really don't think Carson Beck is all that good. And I think it's going to be even harder to blend that with a new offense that he doesn't know. I'm just not sold on Miami. I don't think they're going to be that good. So I think if there is a challenger to Clemson, I know it's based off of 1 week, and they've won 3 games in the past, 365 days. But I really like Florida State and how they looked yesterday. I think that's not only just a game that they won, but a game that they showed that they can be really good in. And I think that they showed that they have sustained success. Anyways, on to LSU. I know I'm kind of bouncing around there, switching between games, but LSU, Nussmeier had a very similar game in the fact that he had 230 yards, the exact same amount as Cade Klubnik, but Cade Klubnik was 19 for 38. Nussmeier was 28 for 31. That tells me he's staying on schedule and getting first downs whenever he needs to. And compared to Klubnik, he's kind of struggling. He'll get a big play here, but kind of iffy in between those big plays. So Nussmeier was more consistent, was able to keep them on schedule, get third down and shorts, fourth down and shorts. He had a great game, had a touchdown pass. Caden Durham also played really well. He had 74 yards and a touchdown. He looked really good. I've talked about Caden Durham in my preview, in my top 10 preview. I thought he was going to have a really good season this year. I'm really excited to watch him going forward. Aaron Anderson also had a big game. He didn't have a touchdown, but he had 99 yards on 6 catches, which just means he's reliable, right? Anytime he was open, throw it to him, got a good gain every single time. Aaron Anderson played really well. But that defense is what won LSU that game. Only allowed 10 points to Clemson. It felt like they were playing like the perfect complementary game. The offense was really solid, but not great, like I talked about. But the LSU defense played so well. I cannot talk about that enough, okay? If you look back to last year, we're talking about the same dang things every single time. Well, you know what we're not talking about this year? We're not talking about being in the position to win a game and blowing it. We're not talking about that this year because LSU got the lead. They were up 17-10. They needed 2 stops to stop Clemson, and they got it done twice. Both times. They finished that game out. Whit Weeks played really good. He was in the backfield a few times, had a ton of tackles. He looked really good this year. LSU's defense played great. They closed out a game. They closed out a week 1 game. Not just any game, a week 1 game, which they have lost 5 years straight before this. That streak is over. LSU has gotten off to the best start they possibly could. Okay? Just winning this game, starting 1-0. That's huge. Because now another loss won't happen until Florida. Last year, they already had a loss. That already put them behind the 8 ball. This year, they're going at it 1-0. They have a ton of experience coming back on offense, so I think that they're going to grow quite a bit. They should get a lot better than they were last night against Clemson. The defense is already really good, apparently. I cannot wait to see where this LSU team goes. They're going to prove my number 8 ranking wrong by a ton this year. If they continue the pace that they're on, they should be a top 5 team. They're going to be top 5 ranked in the next AP poll. I cannot wait to see where they go. They could win the SEC. They could make a top 4 seed in the playoff. Everything just became on the table for LSU after last night just because they were starting 1-0. Moving on to my Alabama and Florida State game. This was my favorite game of the weekend. I wasn't able to watch a ton of it, but I went back and watched the highlights. I watched everything that I could. Tommy Castellanos. I don't know if it's Castellanos or Castellanos, but he is a dog. Okay, I was watching the first quarter, right? They're down 7. I think they were down 7-0. I turn on the game. I work at the KC Current, so I wasn't able to watch a ton of it. And I turn on the game right before I have to go start my shift and everything. And the first thing I see is Tommy Castellanos throwing a deep ball and completing the pass. When was the last time we said that about Florida State? It's been 2 years since Jordan Travis. DJ Uiagalelei was nothing last year. He didn't do that. He just didn't. He was never good enough for that last year. Tommy Castellanos did it in his first game as a Seminole. And then the next play, the next 2 or 3 plays, he scores a touchdown with his legs. So he can throw it. He can run it. He has the balls to do it. And let me tell you how refreshing it was to turn on that game and watch that happen right after the Ohio State and Texas game, where that didn't happen at all. It felt so refreshing to just watch a quarterback have the balls to throw it deep, complete the pass, and then score a rushing touchdown, run through a few people. He looked great. He looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC. I cannot wait to see where they go. I mean, let's read a few of these stats. Okay, he went 9 for 14 with 152 passing yards, which doesn't sound great. But he had 78 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. They were so unbelievably balanced on the ground. Okay, let's read off some names. Tommy Castellanos, Makai Danzy, Osmane Chroma, Gavin Sawchuk, and Jalen Lucas all had 20-plus yards on the ground. Jalen Lucas also added 66 yards on only 2 receptions through the air. The defense played great. They had 3 sacks, 7 TFLs. Florida State had 236 yards rushing. Florida State looked great on the ground. Okay, that looked like a Gus Malzahn offense. That looked like old school Gus Malzahn offense. I loved watching it. It was beautiful. Florida State is back from the dead, okay? I loved watching them play. They looked great yesterday. I don't know if it's maybe Alabama just isn't that good because they looked horrible, but they look good. They look like a team that could win the ACC after a season that they just won 2 games. This is a huge, huge deal for Mike Norvell. He needs to win this year. If he doesn't, he'd get fired. I know he just went 13-0 2 seasons ago, won the ACC, undefeated regular season, but he needed this in the worst way possible. A 2-win season is never good enough at Florida State. It's never good enough anywhere. You're going to get fired if you win 2 games. He came back and answered the doubters in the best way possible yesterday. He needed that game more than I think anybody needed any game yesterday. If you want a stepping stone to fix your job security, that's the way to do it. You go beat Alabama. There were rumors that he was going to take that Alabama job whenever it opened. He stayed. He got an extension. That's why his buyout is so big, and that's why I'm not sure if he would have been fired this year. But man, that is a way to secure your job. Go beat Alabama. Go beat an Alabama team that has national championship aspirations. That's how you save your job. Mike Norvell had arguably the biggest win of his career. I think the ACC championship was probably the bigger game because, you're winning the championship. But, man, that's how you save your job. Go beat Alabama. The only question I have, excuse my language, did that dude eat the dog shit? If you don't know, there was this guy a couple years ago, or last year. He was like, if Florida State loses to blah, 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 I'll eat dog shit. And then it caused a curse. They win 2 games last year. So I'm very curious, did that guy break that curse? Who knows? Or maybe it was the other dude who ate it anyways to help save the curse and then just didn't kick in until now. I mean, one of the two has to be true. I cannot wait to see where Florida State goes. On the complete opposite hand, Alabama. That's the worst Alabama team I think I've seen ever. I mean, I know they lost to Oklahoma. I know they lost some games last year that they really shouldn't have lost. But man, that team looked They didn't have effort. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't tackle. They couldn't do anything yesterday. Again, Florida State had 236 rushing yards yesterday. That is unacceptable. That just means you're not playing tough enough. That is a problem that Alabama should never have. They never have had that in my lifetime. Ty Simpson had 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's not a bad game. 23 for 43. Not great on the accuracy area. 23 for 43. It's maybe a little bit over 50%. Not terrible. I think the real issue, 2 real issues. 3. I see 3 real issues. Sorry. I know it just snowballed, but 87 rushing yards is not good enough. They have better running backs than that. Jam Miller is better than that. Brian Williams, nowhere to be seen. He didn't even show up yesterday. He needs to be better. The final key to them losing this game, 1 sack, 3 TFLs. That's it. They need to be better on the offensive line and the defensive line. They need to be a more physical team. They're just not good enough on the defense and the offensive line to be that good. Alabama had 50 or so rushing yards on their first drive, ended with 87. They could not run the ball to save their life. Now, the awkward conversation that I'm hesitant to even have is Kalen DeBoer. A lot of upset Alabama fans, and I'm going to be one of the last people to say they should be fired. I just don't believe, I believe in, if you're going to invest in a coach, you invest in him to do his job. I don't think Kalen DeBoer should be fired yet. But I said yet. Because the way that he has this team playing is unacceptable. There'd be a difference if there was, they're in the right spots and then a player doesn't make a play. But the effort was not there yesterday. Countless dudes just jogging. Not running, but jogging. In 14 games that Kalen DeBoer has had at Alabama, not a single one have they been penalized less than their opponent. That's just a sign of bad coaching. Just plain bad coaching. This is his 4th loss against a 14-plus underdog. 4 games, in only 14. In 4 games, he has lost a game that he was favored by 14-plus points. Unacceptable. He has lost as many unranked games as Nick Saban did his entire Alabama tenure. This team, I don't want to seem like the world is ending because, again, I wrote here, fortunately, we're in the 12-team playoff era. Fortunately, that was not a conference game. So all their goals are still in front of them. They're still there. But that was unacceptable. That was horrible. Again, players not looking like they care. That's not a problem that Alabama should ever have. Completely unacceptable. The criticism of Kalen DeBoer is too much. I think most of the time I'm going to say it's too much. That he shouldn't be fired right now. He's on track. Man, that did not look good at all. You need to be better. You need to be better in the trenches. You need to be more physical. You need to have better effort. Alabama needs to be better. Props to Florida State for putting them in that situation. Again, they ran the ball really well. The reverses that they had, quite a lot of them. And they put Alabama in the wrong spot countless times. Countless times. And I'm trying to watch this Virginia Tech and South Carolina game where it is 7-5. But it looks like that South Carolina is about to change that. They're on the goal line, 2nd and goal with 4.5 minutes left in the first half. But yeah, sorry, back to yesterday. Alabama, not good enough. Not good enough at all. Ohio State and Texas. What a way to start the day. This is going to be in between the two of the games that I just watched, or just talked about. I don't want to be too negative. There's definitely a lot of negatives, especially on offense for Texas. They did not look good at all. Arch Manning had 170 yards, 17 for 30, a touchdown, and a pick. They did, on the other hand, have 166 rushing yards, which is a pretty solid. Ryan Wingo only had 2 receptions. Texas offense just didn't look like they were supposed to look yesterday. Okay, Arch Manning, I talked about that prism, right? I think that might have been pretty accurate because Arch Manning did not look good. I think Steve Sarkisian sees what I saw. And I think he's seen that in practice. And the reason I think that I have two examples. Number one, before the game, I thought this was odd. Tom Rinaldi, the sideline reporter for Fox, went and asked, what does Arch Manning need to do to prove to Steve Sarkisian that he is ready? And he said something like, oh, he just needs to go out there and do his thing, be him, and he's going to do great, or something like something less than that. I'm watching that, I'm like, if I was a coach, which I'm sitting here, right, I'm not out there, I'm not a coach. If I'm a coach, I'm saying he doesn't need to do anything out there. He's already proven to me that he's ready. I've seen it every single day in practice that guy's ready, and he's going to go prove it to you guys. He's already proven it to me. He's going to go prove it to you guys and the rest of the country. He didn't do that at all. I don't think Steve Sarkisian even let him do that because the offense yesterday, the play calls, just didn't seem like a Steve Sarkisian offense. I mean, Joel Klatt talked about it a lot during the game yesterday. There wasn't very much motion. There wasn't the pre-snap eye candy that Texas normally has. I don't think Arch Manning had the full playbook yesterday. I don't think Steve Sarkisian let him have the full playbook yesterday. I don't think he trusts him. I think yesterday you saw why Arch Manning didn't play. Even whenever Quinn Ewers was really struggling last year, you didn't see Arch Manning play. And it was a little questionable. I thought for sure he'd get some time in the playoffs. He didn't. He looked good on the ground. I'll say that. He made a few plays with his legs, but man, even whenever, in the third quarter, I wrote my notes, as I was watching it. I was trying to keep track of, my thoughts and everything. In the third quarter, Ohio State got the ball to start the half. They did not have anything going. They got to stop. Then Texas gets the ball back, and they start going. They start driving. They call a play that I really thought was, the turning point, because I could tell that Steve Sarkisian was starting to trust Arch Manning. He ran a triple option, RPO triple option. So Arch Manning had an option to hand the ball off, or he could run, or he could throw the screenplay. He ended up throwing a screenplay, and it went for 9 or 10 yards. That's a Steve Sarkisian play. I thought he was going to be able to trust him after that play. And Arch Manning played it really well. Didn't see much of it. And then get to the goal line, and I'm thinking, okay, Ohio State last year was the best team in the country at stopping goal-to-go situations. I haven't seen a team that was as good as that team at stopping goal-to-go situations ever. I was curious with a brand new D-line if they were going to be able to continue that this year. Well, they're 1 for 1. They got them to 4th and goal on the inch-yard line. They tried to sneak and they stopped it, which I could not hate that play call more for Steve Sarkisian, okay? In the first quarter, there was a 4th down, their first drive. They ran a tush push, and it didn't work. Well, it worked, but he was short. He looked really short. It was very, very barely past the line, if it was at all, which South Carolina didn't end up scoring a touchdown. They got a field goal. It is now 10-5. It's a very odd score. Ohio State got that stop on the goal line, and it was a huge deal. That was the play of the game. I wrote in my notes on that, this is a huge moment. Someone got hurt, so I had a little bit of time to digest my thoughts. That was the play of the game. That's what stopped Texas from having all the momentum in the world. They need to get better in the goal line situations. They struggled with it against Ohio State last year. It's one of the reasons why they lost. That big play for Jack Sawyer down the sideline scoring a touchdown. Texas needs to be better in the red zone. They have to improve that. Again, they ran the ball really well. I think they should have ran the ball a little bit more. I know they were trying to get Arch Manning going, but I'm going to flip over to Ohio State here and tell you guys, that might be the best defense in the country. Not so much the D-line. The D-line didn't look great. They did give up 166 yards rushing, but they look good. Just watching it, the field, not looking at the stats or anything, it looked like they were decent stopping the run. It wasn't great, but it was decent, good enough. Good enough to the point where the secondary was able to commit to the pass and be able to defend the pass. I think they did the secondary won Ohio State this game. I know that the secondary won that game because Arch Manning had a lot of time in the pocket. I think there's two areas that Ohio State can get better, and defensive line pass rush is one of them. I don't think they did not look good rushing the passer. They only had one sack. They need to get better rushing the passer. But they were good enough so that the secondary could absolutely put a blanket over that Texas receiving core. Okay, Ryan Wingo, he only had 2 receptions. Their tight end, their only touchdown, he had 2 receptions. Not good enough. Not good enough. Either Texas needs to get better, a lot better in the receiving game, getting open and catching the football, or Ohio State is just really, really, really good. And I think it's going to be a mixture of both. The other area that I think Ohio State needs to get better in is running the ball. They were decent, right? C.J. Donaldson had 67 yards for a touchdown. Julian Sayin was also decent. He just did his job. He went 13 for 20, 126 yards and a touchdown. Carnell Tate, I think he was, if it wasn't the secondary, then it was Carnell Tate who won them this game. He only had 2 catches, but both of them were huge plays. One of them for a touchdown. Jeremiah Smith didn't have a great game yesterday. Okay, he had 2 drops in the first half, and I was sitting there like, what? That's wrong. He catches everything. Even if he's covered, even if he's double covered, that guy's open. He's that good. He had 6 catches, but only went for 43 yards. The secondary, again, this is just my notes here, right? The secondary was really good. I cannot say that enough. The defense, again, was absolutely dominant. Yeah, Arch Manning, even whenever he had time to throw, he had a lot of time to throw the ball. No one was open. It's not like he missed a few, but he didn't really miss any open receivers. It's not like he just didn't see them. He saw them. They weren't open. His interception, though. Again, this is kind of back to the Texas thing. His interception, that was on him. They showed a replay from behind Quinn Ewers, or not Quinn Ewers, sorry. Arch Manning, behind. And on that play, the receiver ran a good route. He got the defender turned backwards. And then he breaks out, and that's when the ball has to be on him. But you kind of saw Arch Manning kind of twitch a little bit. He just second-guessed himself. He was like, oh my God. It was like the third quarter. He's like, oh my God, I'm about to throw the ball down the field. I haven't done that all game. That's not right. I'm not supposed to be doing that. He threw it. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to throw it because he was open. Because he saw him open. But by the time the ball got to the play, the Ohio State DB was able to turn around, make a play on the ball, interception. It's going the other way. And that was a huge turning point because Ohio State had just given Texas really good field position. They should have scored on that drive. They started at the 50-yard line. That was on Arch Manning. He has to throw with more anticipation. As soon as that guy breaks out of the throw, right? Breaks out of the route, boom, ball's on him, caught 10, 15 yards. There you go. You can't second guess. You can't give that DB time to turn back around and make a play on the football, which is what happened. He just has to have more confidence in himself. He can make those throws. He made a decent throw. It was just late. Way late. So that's why I'm questioning on how good was Arch Manning, or was it how good was the Ohio State secondary? I'm not quite sure. Again, Julian Sayin, I didn't touch enough on him. He just did really good. He just did his job. That's all he did. Didn't do anything more, didn't do anything less. Got the ball to Carnell Tate, got the ball to Jeremiah Smith 6 times. Got the ball. Max Clare had a rough game. He only had 1 reception. He had a big drop in the first half, which Julian Sayin, I will say, one critique. There's only one play. There's 2 plays. He had Jeremiah Smith one-on-one, and he had beat the receiver, but he decided to throw it short to Max Clare. You got to throw that to Jeremiah Smith, okay? You got to get the ball to number 4. And then another play, Braden Ennis was one-on-one, didn't make the play. He did throw it, but he didn't make the play. I'm sitting there, I'm like, why would you not throw it to Jeremiah Smith, but you're going to throw it to Braden Ennis? No disrespect to Braden Ennis, but he's not as good as Jeremiah Smith. No one is. You can't expect to be as good as Jeremiah Smith. Not even Ryan Wingo on the other side can be expected to be as good as Jeremiah Smith. Even whenever Jeremiah Smith had 6 receptions and 43 yards, that's it. Ryan Wingo still wasn't as good as him. So, I don't know. I like a lot of what Ohio State did. They looked like the number one team in the country yesterday. I think they should be the number one team in the country after yesterday. I think they should jump Penn State for sure, because Penn State played Nevada last week, so who really cares? But yeah, I think it was a really good game. Really excited for where Ohio State's going. Texas isn't dead yet. I just think Archman needs to grow into his position. He needs to grow into the player that he's supposed to be. It was really fun. It was a really fun game to watch. I really glad that it got close at the end, because it just kind of would have been lame if it didn't. And I've been like, okay, this is frustrating. I was getting frustrated. I'm not a Texas fan. I was getting frustrated watching that Texas offense. I'm like, what is happening? Why am I watching this? They're not going to do anything. But yeah, it was a fun game. Really like Ohio State. They're going to be really good. Really don't want to play them this fall, because I think they're only going to get better. Again, like Jeremiah Smith only had 43 yards. They're nowhere near their ceiling right now, and that's scary. That's really scary. It's week 1. They're going to grow. But it's also week 1 for Texas. They'll grow a lot too. Again, not a conference game. Same boat as Alabama. Not a conference game. Only 1 loss. Everything that they want to achieve is still out ahead of them. Just ask Ohio State. Okay, they lost 2 games last regular season, didn't win the Big Ten, still were able to win the national championship. My team of the week, we got a lot of options here, okay? You got Florida State, you got Ohio State, or you got LSU. Those are my 3 options. We could say North Dakota. They played a really good game against K-State yesterday. I might have them in a close second how good they played yesterday. They didn't win. They got really close, and I think they should have won, because they had the ball, minute 40 seconds left, up when winning the game. They should have won that game. They should have been able to put that out. That's not really relevant, but I think they might be my second favorite team from this weekend. My team of the week has got to be the Florida State Seminoles, okay? They looked so good against a team that they should not have looked good against. Tommy Castellanos had himself one of the best games that I've seen from a quarterback that got benched at Boston College. I haven't seen a lot of people do that, but that's one of the best games I've seen from a quarterback. It is the best game I've seen from a quarterback this year in my tiny little sample size. I can't wait to see where that Florida State team goes. Now, I am going to preview this Illinois and Duke game. I don't find it super important, because I don't think Illinois will end up making the playoffs. I just don't think that they're that good. I know they brought back a lot, but I don't think that those players are necessarily that good. I know they won 10 games. I just don't think the players are as talented as the best teams in the country. So I'm curious to see if they even make the playoff. But this weekend is going to tell them if they even have a shot. Okay, they played Duke. Duke's a sneaky team. They got Darian Mensah from Tulane. I think he's really good. All right, he's solid. They paid him a lot of money to go to Duke. I just think Illinois has something about them this year. Okay, they got an easy schedule, but they have almost everyone returning from a team that won 10 games. And Brett Bielema, he's one of those coaches where he just overachieves. That's all he does, is overachieve with teams that he shouldn't overachieve with. You go back, 2 or 3 years, they got Chase Brown, Devin Witherspoon on that team. That was a good team. They won a lot of good games. They almost beat Michigan. Then we went to Ohio State the next week and beat them. This Illinois team has a lot of potential just because of the schedule, and they're bringing back a lot. The reason why I think that this game is so important, and the only reason why I would talk about it, is because Illinois is going to find out if they even have a shot to make the playoff. Okay, this is their set the tone game. This is their stepping stone game to go into Big Ten play and try to knock off an Ohio State. Maybe. I don't think so. We'll see. But it's possible. It's a possibility. This is where Illinois starts the season. Anyways, moving on to next week, my game of the week. This is the last thing that we'll talk about today. The main event of next week, the only ranked versus ranked game of the week next week, Michigan at Oklahoma. I could not be more excited. Okay, this is my team. We're going into Oklahoma. All eyes on us. Game day is going to be there. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful day down in Norman. I wish I was able to be there. I'm not working this weekend, so I'll be able to watch. I'll be able to watch all day. I cannot wait, man. It's going to be so fun. We got Bryce Underwood, the most hyped recruit since Trevor Lawrence, going to Norman, against a Brent Venables defense that he's calling plays now. He needs this game. This is their stepping stone game. Illinois has their game against Duke. This is Oklahoma's stepping stone game. Okay, Brent Venables needs to win this year. He has to. He has to be able to win this game. We talked about it a little bit in the last episode because these are my 2 honorable mention teams. He has to win this game. His job is on the line this year. This is his alma mater. This is his dream job. If he wants to be a successful coach, if he wants to be looked on in the future as a coach who did big things anywhere, it's going to be at Oklahoma. And this is his shot to get started, okay? If he doesn't win this game against a true freshman, against a completely new offense with zero weapons, but a good defense, but I think they have a better offense. With John Mateer, one of the Heisman hopefuls, he has to win this game. If he wants any sort of momentum, any sort of buy-in through the team going into conference play, one of the toughest schedules in the conference, this is a must-win game for Brent Venables in his career. He has to get the season started this week against Michigan. I cannot wait. On the Michigan side of things, they looked against New Mexico. I was watching that game quite a bit because, it's my team. They looked decent. I will say Bryce Underwood looked like he's everything that he's hyped up to be. I mean, he's a freshman, so he didn't blow us away, didn't make any crazy plays. He looked really solid. I mean, he looked like he was reading the defense really well, able to make decisions, make smart decisions, not put the ball in harm's way. Justice Haynes had himself a game. 159 yards, 3 touchdowns. I just know that off the top of my head because I'm obsessed with this Michigan football team. He looked good. I don't like what Jordan Marshall did yesterday. He didn't have a very good game. He was nowhere near as good as Justice Haynes. But Justice Haynes is going to be a beast of a running back. I think right now he's my Heisman favorite. No bias. No bias at all. He's my Heisman favorite right now. I question if Oklahoma's going to be able to stop him in any way. I will say the offensive line didn't look great running the ball. I mean, there were a lot of make a man miss moments for Justice Haynes that he shouldn't have had to be in. But despite that, I mean, he still had really good plays, really big game. So that's the question I have for Oklahoma's defense. If I'm going to pick this game, I don't see a way that a true freshman quarterback can go to Norman and beat a Brent Venables defense. I just don't see that happening. I don't think that he's going to play that good. I think he'll look like a true freshman. I think if he doesn't, then I think Michigan's going to win this game. But I don't think he will. I think he's a true freshman. I know how good he is going to be really good someday. I just don't think he's there yet. This is week 2. This is his second game. He's just not there yet. Again, like I talked about in the last episode, I think Michigan's going to be a completely different team towards the end of the season whenever they play in Ohio State or play maybe a USC. They're just not there yet. So I think Oklahoma's going to win this game. I think John Mateer just needs to be smart. He just needs to not do dumb things. I think Keontez Lewis, I think that's who's going to win Oklahoma that game. Okay, he had 119 yards last week just to start the season. I think that's going to be the key to this game because I don't think Michigan's cornerbacks are secondary. I think our safeties are going to be good. I think our cornerbacks are pretty weak. I think Jair Hill, he's going to be pretty decent, but below that, it's kind of iffy. So I think that's where this game gets won, is on the perimeter against our defense. I think John Mateer's going to have a really good game. He's going to be able to use his legs quite a bit. And I think Keontez Lewis is the wide receiver that's going to help Oklahoma win this game. All right, guys, so it is the next day after the Notre Dame and the Miami game. I just recorded the episode yesterday, but I want to make sure that I also talk about the game last night, make sure we get that into that episode. I had a ton of fun watching this game. Okay, Miami is legit. Notre Dame was a top 5 team for me going into the season, I think. I think I had them top 5. If not, they should have been because they are a really good team. They're one of my favorite teams in the country. They looked not great yesterday. CJ Carr went 19 for 30, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. Not great, not bad. Definitely looked like there's a lot to build on there. Jadarian Price had 6 carries for 45 yards, team's leading rusher. What surprised me, though, Jeremiah Love, he had 10 carries but only 33 yards. Jeremiah Love wasn't even the leading rusher on Notre Dame yesterday. That's a problem. That's a problem going forward for Notre Dame. Eli Raridon was 97 yards on 5 catches. That's a really good game for him. Again, CJ Carr looked good yesterday. He shouldn't look great. Notre Dame only had 94 rushing yards. I think that's a huge issue for Notre Dame. They really need to get that figured out going forward. I think that they're going to drop a lot in the rankings just because I wasn't very high on them to begin with. And I think they just didn't look good. I wasn't very high on Miami either. And they looked really good yesterday. Jeremiah Love played not great yesterday. He needs to be a lot better going forward. They need to get him the ball more. He only got 10 carries yesterday. That needs to be like doubled or tripled even. He's that good. He's that kind of talent. He needs to get the ball a lot more. Notre Dame didn't look good. The defense was all right. Definitely could have played better. I will say Carson Beck, he had a really good game. He was 20 for 31, 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. The key in this game that I think what won Miami the game was 94 rushing yards for Notre Dame, the team that was supposed to run the ball a lot, to 127 rushing yards for Miami, who, between Mark Fletcher and Jamar Brown, they looked really good on the run game. Notre Dame just looked okay. I think that's what the difference was in this game. I think that's what won Miami this game. CJ Daniels had 46 yards and a touchdown. He looked really good. He had a crazy catch on the goal. I went up one-handed. He was going to get nailed. He's a really, really good wide receiver. But I think their number one receiver is actually a true freshman, Malachi Toney. He had 6 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. That guy was flying around the field. I don't think I've seen a faster player this year. I mean, in this first week, obviously, but I haven't seen a faster player than that guy. He was special yesterday. He was flying around the field. I was working yesterday trying to listen to it in my ear, had it propped up so I could watch it whenever I wasn't doing anything. But I was walking around and I'm like, every single 5 seconds, every 5 minutes out here, Malachi Toney, Malachi Toney, Malachi Toney. That kid's special. He's going to be really good. Carter Davis, I also want to shout him out, had the game-winning field goal at the end, 2 for 2 on field goals today, 3 for 3 on extra points, had a really good game. Carson Beck turned back the clock yesterday. He looked really, really good. He was making really good reads, making really good decisions, throwing the ball, getting the ball to his weapons. He did a really good job yesterday. He looked like what Miami needs him to look like going forward. I like Miami. I like what this does for the ACC. I want to talk about that bigger picture of Florida State. They beat a top 10 team in Alabama. Not just beat them, but handled them. Miami goes and beats Notre Dame, who is a really, really, really good team. Even Clemson. Clemson's defense played really well against LSU. The offense was a little iffy. The offense for Clemson needs to get better. But before the season, I'm shooing in Clemson as the ACC champion. I thought that they were that much better than everyone else. But man, if Florida State and Miami can play like this all season, Clemson might not win the ACC. It's going to be really close. I can't wait to see where that ACC race goes. I am very, very, very excited to be able to watch this ACC. Before the season, I was kind of in the boat of Clemson's going to run away with this, right? It looked like they were head and shoulders above everyone else in the ACC. But man, if Miami can play like that, they got a good shot. If Florida State can play like they did against Alabama, they got a good shot. It's going to be a fun race in the ACC. But that is going to do it. I wanted to come back the next day and make sure that I got that game into this video because that was my favorite game of the weekend. That was the most fun game to watch. I mean, just from an offensive and defensive perspective. Just because, the defenses for the LSU-Clemson game, the defense for the Ohio State and Texas game, didn't seem like they really needed to do much to be that good. It felt like the offenses were not as good as they were going to be in the future. But CJ Carr, I mean, he had a crazy play. I mean, that touchdown that he threw, I mean, he's running around 30 yards in the backfield. Great play. He's really special. He's going to be a really good player. I can't wait to see how Notre Dame responds to this because, again, I think that they're really good. And I think, I wasn't super high on them, but I think that they're probably a top 10 team, top 15 team, at least. I mean, but a lot of people are making the argument they're a top 5 team coming into this season. I'm excited to see where they go from this because CJ Carr looked good. I mean, their receiver, Eli Raridon, he looked really good. And they didn't use Jeremiah Love. Now imagine them being really good and they use Jeremiah Love. I'm really excited to see where they go. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of Scoring from the 50 podcast. Again, I really thank you guys so much for watching. I got a ton of support on the last episode and I love seeing it. It meant a lot to me. I do want to make sure that I tell you guys, make sure you just subscribe. Again, I only saw I had 50 views last time. and only 23 subscribers. We can do better than that, right? Like, we need to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you see whenever I'm uploading. Try and get the next podcast. We might come out with one this week, might come out with one next week. We'll see. Kind of depends on how busy I am. But I am going to try and cut up this episode into some more videos. So hopefully we can keep this channel growing, keep it growing as much as possible, get as much content out on the channel as possible. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your week until I see you again, and hope you guys really enjoy this week 2 slate that we have coming up. It is going to be a great weekend of college football again, and I will see you guys next time.